Hello everyone, welcome back. For today's practice, we are going to try to get into our hips a little bit. So if you know that your hips are super tight, a strap might come in handy today in one of our poses. So any type of object that you can find around your house that doesn't have a lot of stretch in it that you can use. Remember, we talked about this in one of our previous videos. Tie, some sort of a belt, scarf, something like that. Something that is longer, I'd say probably longer than 2 feet, that you can use to help you. You might need it, you might not. I'm going to have it close by, and if I need it, I'll use it. Otherwise, let's get settled in, I was going to say in Shavasana, but you choose. How do you want to start your practice? Do you want to go in your traditional Shavasana, or do you want to start in a different position? So I'd like you to start settling in. If you're going on the back in your traditional Shavasana, make sure that you extend your legs and arms long and allow them to melt into the floor. If you're choosing a sit position, find a cross-legged that sits best for you. You might be starting in a child's pose. Whatever shape you have chosen, you want it to be relatively comfortable. You don't want to start off right off the bat in a very stressful shape. So find something that we can take a few breaths to find some ease. And that ease is not only in our body, but it's also in our mind. So always at the beginning of our practice, we do try to take those few breaths to try to clear the mind and relax the body. Do what you can here to find that little bit of ease. Do not get frustrated if you cannot find complete ease, but it's always a process. Doing a little bit at a time, seeing where we can find a little bit more, and then even a little bit more ease. So wherever you are, wherever you've decided to start your practice, see if you can soften your feet. Wherever you have decided to start your practice, see if you can soften your legs. Soften the hips and glutes. Whichever shape you are in, try to soften your belly, your ribs. Soften the shoulders so that the collarbone can open up. Relax the arms, hands and fingers. Relax the neck, the jaw, the face muscles. And as you settle in, notice your breath. Is it smooth? Is it fast? Just absorbing that information. following the rhythm of your inhale as it flows into your exhale, and then flows back into the inhale and through the exhale again. And that continuous cycle of breathing in and breathing out is what you can control. If you find that you've held your breath, that's the easiest thing for you to do, is to change. Either exhale and continue, or if you choose not to continue breathing, you will find that things will become difficult. Not only the poses, but many other things. So that continuous breath is what we're looking for. The more we can smooth it out, the nicer it will be. But it's the continuous breath. That's the aim. Smoothing it out. Each time we come to our mat, we work on that. So take 3 or 4 more breaths here. Just to enjoy the stillness. Enjoy the ease that you find your body in before the work effort. And enjoy the calmness. As you finish your next exhale, start to invite those small movements to gently wake up the body. And each time we wake up our body, we might notice that there is a particular area that we'd like to start moving first. We're creatures of habit. Maybe you go directly into your ankles. Maybe you go directly into your wrist. But those gentle movements are signaling your body, signaling your brain that we are going to do a little bit more. So let's see how much more or how little more our bodies are going to give us today. If you are in a sit position, come to lie down on your back. And if you think you might need that strap, have it within reach before you lie down, just so that you don't have to get back up and disturb yourself. So make your way down to your back and find those little movements, those little wiggle jiggles to find a comfortable space. Make sure that you are trying to even yourself out, that you are equal left to right in your hips and your shoulders. Notice if your chin is tilting too high up to the sky. You might notice that the back of your neck is not in that neutral spine space, so make those adjustments. And again, you are going to make slight adjustments along the way, but try to be as neutral as you can, as comfortable as you can. And then let's bring the left knee up towards the sky. And what you're trying to do is get your shin parallel with the floor. You may not be 100% parallel, but try not to have an extended leg, a straight leg, and try not to have that knee too tight into your chest. Try to have the knee as best as you can over your hip and the shin parallel to the floor as best as you can. You can have the opposite leg bent or long, whichever one is going to support you best. And all you're going to do with your exhale is open up that knee to the left side of your mat without taking your entire weight body with you. So keep both of your glutes on the floor, hips facing up towards the sky, and only open up that hip as far as you can without allowing the opposite glute to lift. And then draw that knee back up towards the ceiling. So all we're doing is opening up this hip in a different little manner. So inhale here while the knee is up to the sky, and then exhale it open. Inhale it back up to the sky. Exhale it open. One more like that. Inhale, back up to the sky. Exhale it open. Inhale back up to the sky, and this time draw the knee slightly closer to your chest. And then at the same time, open the knee to the left as your left foot goes to your right thigh. So we're making our figure 4 shape. Now you can stay right here if this is enough hip opening sensation. What I do want you to watch is as this left knee is opening out, are your hips shifting to the right? We don't want that, because you might think your hip is opening with your knee dropping, but it's only because you have shifted. So try to keep both of those hip bones up towards the sky and just see how far that left knee can drop. Now, like I said, this might be plenty of opening sensation for you. I'm going to give you another option. This right foot that's on the floor, I might draw it in a little closer towards my glute to allow this left hip a different sensation. Again, try to keep those hips even. In this pose, I have a tendency to allow my hips to shift, so I'm just cheating myself. Now you might want even more. This is where your strap might come in handy. So I can lift my right foot up off the floor to draw my right knee towards my face. And it might be a little difficult to hold it levitating in the air, so I might take my hands to the back of my right leg, kind of the hamstring area, and gently draw it in. Now you might notice that your arms aren't long enough. You still want to keep your head and shoulders on the floor. So the strap might help you reach. So I'm going to thread my strap here to my hamstring so that I can keep my head and shoulders on the floor
and still gently draw in. So that might help you if you find that you can't quite reach, or you're trying to reach but you're lifting your head and shoulders and everything just to try to get that little bit extra. So the strap there might come in handy. Or you might find that that's way too much and you want to keep the foot on the floor. So one more breath there. And then gently, if the right foot is lifted, put it back down to the floor and draw the left knee back towards your center, your face, and then release that left foot back on the floor. And then maybe just give yourself a little wiggle jiggle, maybe sway the knees side to side. Just giving those hips a little bit of a breather. So there should be some sensation, a different sensation from your left hip to your right hip. And then we are going to do the same thing on the other side. So now I'm going to bring my right shin parallel with the floor. I'm going to try to keep my right knee over my hip. And maybe on this side, you'd like to extend that opposite leg. I'm going to extend it to help you see what we're doing. But if you need to keep this left leg bent, you go right ahead. So remember, the inhale is here, and we're just going to open up the knee to the right with the exhale, keeping both glutes on the floor. Inhale, the knee back up to the sky. You might need to help it with your hand a little bit if it's too difficult to do on its own. Exhaling, the knee open, working on that hip socket. Inhale, knee to sky. Exhale, knee out to the side. One more. Knee, sky. Open up the hip, knee to the side. I'm going to draw that knee back up, and I'm going to get into my figure 4. So I need to re-bend the left foot. And then open up that right knee to hook the right foot just above that left knee. So I'd like to put it on the thigh. And once again, you might need to kind of move around to try to keep those hip bones facing in one direction, upward, forward, evenly. And again, you might have enough sensation here. You might want to draw that left foot a little closer to your bum. Watch that as the right knee opens up, you haven't simply shifted your hips. So we're looking to open up that hip. If you'd like, you can lift the left foot up off the floor. You can draw that left thigh a little closer. This is where that strap might come in handy. Perhaps if you didn't see it on the other side, I'm threading it so that the strap is on my hamstring, and then I can use my hands here to draw the left thigh towards my face while still keeping the head and shoulders on the floor. And the strap comes in handy only if you can't reach it on your own. So think of the strap as extensions of your arm. So take a breath or two here. So this is our figure 4. Because if you kind of look at the shape, it does remotely look like the number 4. If the left foot is lifted, put it back to the floor, unhook the right foot, bring both feet to the floor and just take those little movements. Whatever movement is going to help you release whatever's going on for you right now. It might be in your knees, it might be in your hips. And then we are going to make our way into a sit position first. And we might need to give those legs another little wiggle jiggle, a little movement. Just taking a breath or two here to allow those hips just to kind of soften. And then we are going to work on them again. So if you find that you need a little bit of height for your hips and legs to relax a little bit, you could sit on a little cushion. Don't go as far as a block, but if you need a little cushion, put it underneath your bum. So keep that right leg extended long. Take the left knee and bend it first, somewhere where you're comfortably in a long spine. So if you notice that you're caving in, the foot is too close to your glute, make sure that you can sit nice and tall. And then just allow this knee to fall out to the side. So my left foot is coming kind of to the inside of my right leg. And again, just allow this left knee to gently fall down. You might need to readjust slightly. Keep the right leg engaged, so heel is kind of pushing into the floor. Take an inhale to lengthen the spine, and then use your exhale to fold forward. So in this leg formation, you might notice that your forward fold is a little shallow. You might notice some different sensation in your knees, in your hips. So just gently go to the depth that's comfortable for you. We're just getting into these hips from a different little angle. You might notice that you are able to bring your chest all the way down to your shin. Go as far as you are comfortable and try to take another 1 or 2 breaths here. Can you breathe in the shape that you have chosen? Have you gone too far? If you can't breathe, you've gone too far. Inhale to lift the torso. Gently guide that left knee up and then extend the leg. And then at this point, you might need to kind of wiggle, jiggle, give those legs a little shake. You might need to curve the spine a little bit because, sitting up straight kind of got that spine to complain. I'm just taking a 2-second break and a little relaxed space. And then I'm going to go to the other side. So left leg goes long. I'm going to bend my right knee. Only bring it in as far as you can keep that nice long spine. Choose where that needs to be. And then with your exhale, drop the right knee down to the side. You can maybe readjust this foot so that your right foot is kind of on the inside of your left leg. You might need a little more adjustment to plant the left heel, lengthen the spine, that's your inhale, and with your exhale, fold forward. Now you might notice that this side feels completely different. Maybe use your hands to gently guide you a little bit deeper, but only go as far as it's comfortable for you. If you've cut off your breathing, if you folded yourself so much that you can't breathe, I'd probably ease off a little bit
so that you can get the benefit of breathing into the pose. One more cycle of breath here. Inhale to lift the torso, guide the right knee up to the sky, extend both legs, and once again, give them a little movement. What is going to release that tension if it crept in? And then swing your feet around, get yourself into your tabletop. So once again, find the shape, find the space that suits you best. Find what angle works best for your hands today. Maybe you plant your hands down and find out, ooh, that's not quite right, and you need to kind of readjust. So in your tabletop, you're doing the best that you can to have your hands underneath your shoulders and to have your knees underneath your hips. Let's do a couple of cat-cows here, just in case our spine isn't quite ready. So remember, elbow creases forward, engage the belly, and then with your inhale, open up the front side of the body, and then with your exhale, contract. Inhale, open up the front side. Exhale, curve your spine, round your back. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Come to neutral, tuck the toes under. Take an inhale to open up the collarbone, and with your exhale, up into your downward facing dog. And again, this might be your first downward facing dog of the day. So lengthen that spine first. Find whatever length it's going to give you right now, and then the legs. Maybe some gentle movement might make you feel better. We're not here for very long, so exhale. And then baby step those feet forward into your forward fold, gently coming into your forward fold. Inhale to your flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a standing position. You choose if the arms are going to come with you or not. And then bring those hands down to heart center, down to mountain pose. Readjust. Find your feet first, and then find a nice, comfortable, sturdy mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach. No back bend here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a standing position with or without arms. Exhale, hands through heart center, mountain pose. Once again, inhale, arms reach. Maybe you're ready for a slight back bend here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands to the floor and step yourself back to downward dog. So once you take your step back, notice if it's the good spot for you to be in your downward facing dog. You might notice that you step back and then you might need to make a little adjustment. So make the adjustment. And then take 2 breaths in your downward facing dog. Does it feel different from the other one? Each one should feel slightly different. Finish your exhale, and we're coming forward to our forward fold. Do you want a baby step, or are you going to take 1 step and then another step into your forward fold? Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a standing position. And then come to mountain pose. Now in mountain pose, check to make sure that your foundation is strong and sturdy. Notice if you are in your toes more or your heels. See if you can get pretty sturdy. What distance do you need between your feet? We're going to work on a little bit of balance here. So very similar to what we were doing on the floor, bring the left knee up so that the thigh is parallel with the floor and your shin is perpendicular. So notice how the right leg has to support you. So make sure that that leg is strong. You might need your hands down by your side for a little bit of balance help. And now we're going to open up this knee just like we did on our backs. And that's our exhale. Inhale, draw the knee back towards the front. Use the exhale to open up the knee. Inhale, knee forward. Exhale, knee out. 1 more, knee forward, and this time exhale it back completely into your crescent lunge. Land the foot and then see, did you land it in the good spot? Or do you need to make a little adjustment? Are you on that tightrope? Are you almost losing your balance? Find what you need to be sturdy. Oops, as I almost fall over. And then notice if the arms are coming into play now, or you need a little breather, just working on the legs. We're going to take 2 breaths here. Are your ribs flaring forward? I'm going to take my arms up towards the sky with my inhale, and I'm going to challenge my arms a little bit and exhale into my runner's lunge. Arms will reach forward. The weight goes a little bit more into that front leg. And just notice, are you still breathing, or have you gone to a space that's a little bit too difficult for you? You can stay in your crescent lunge if you would prefer. Take an inhale here, and wherever you are, exhale yourself, hands down to the floor. Step yourself back to plank. And notice if you want to stay here in your plank, or would you like to add a vinyasa? If you're going with me, take an inhale to open up the collarbone. Exhale to come down and forward. Inhale up into your back bend. It might be a cobra. And then exhale yourself up to your downward facing dog. We'll all meet in our downward facing dog. Make the adjustments. Catch your breath. One more cycle here. We're coming forward to our forward fold. Now, if you attempted to step forward 1 foot at a time last time, do you remember what foot you led with?
try to lead with the opposite foot this time. So I'm coming forward with left, and then forward with right. Did it feel exactly the same as last time? Probably not. Inhale up to the flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a standing position. Exhale, mountain pose. Again, find the sturdy leg. We're going to do exactly the same thing with that hip on the other side. So shift the weight slightly into the left leg so that you can lift your right knee so that your thigh is parallel with the floor. That's your inhale. Use your exhale to open up that hip so the knee goes to the right. Find the supporter leg. Inhale, knee back forward. Exhale, knee out to the side. Inhale, knee forward. Exhale, knee out to the side. One more, knee forward, and exhale into crescent lunge. When you step back, are you in your optimal crescent lunge position, or do you need to make a slight adjustment? Would you like to use your arms here, or do you want to do a leg-only version? Find where you are comfortable. You can stay right here, or challenge your abs slightly and exhale yourself into your runner's lunge. So a little bit of an angle forward with the torso. The arms are reaching, or there could be another variation with your arms. See if your balance is good, or do you need to take the arms out to help support the body and help support your balance? This could be another version of your runner's lunge. Or you might still be in crescent lunge. That's fine too. Take an inhale here wherever you are, and with your exhale, frame that foot with your hands. And are you going back to down dog? Are you going back to plank? Are you going to hold your plank? Or are you going for another vinyasa? I'm going to hold my plank, but if you're going forward, take the inhale and exhale to lower yourself down towards the floor. Take the inhale to come up into your back bend, either cobra or upward facing dog. And then use your exhale to go through your plank, through your tabletop, into your downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, decide if down dog is rest. Can you breathe? Can you catch your breath there in down dog? Or do you need to take another version, another modification, another shape? We are going to work on a little bit of balance again. So, do you need the rest in child's pose? Take a breath or two here, just to release. If you are not in down dog, make your way to down dog. One exhale in down dog, and then I'm making my way to my forward fold once again. How do you want to get there? Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a standing position with or without arms, and then into mountain pose. Now give yourself a little bit of a shake off. Give those legs a little wiggle jiggle. And we are going to work on our tree pose. So you can still face the front of the mat. I'm just going to turn slightly so that you can see the variations. So from your mountain pose, hopefully we've worked our hips a little bit
so that they are a little bit looser to help us in our tree pose. So I am going to put my weight more into my right foot, and I'm going to lift the left heel up off the floor. So by now I might be a little too tired, so I might need a slower, lower variation of tree pose. So I'm going to make sure that my hip is zipped up, and I'm going to see where can I open that left knee. I might be able to put that left heel kind of on the inside of my right ankle. Now, as I'm opening up the knee, I'd still like to keep those hip bones facing forward. So don't torque into your knees because you're not going to feel good. So this might be the version of tree pose that I can handle right now. And if my balance is not so great today, I can simply start to work on trying to lift the left toes up off the floor. So if I think I don't need that kickstand anymore, I could work on lifting. And then if I'm comfortable, maybe I can take the entire foot to the inside of the opposite shin. And again, keep those hip bones forward. So that might mean that your knee is not quite out to the side, but it's facing a little bit more forward. The worker is the supporter leg. So do what you can here to keep the foot grounded into the floor. You might notice that you've got to use your toes a little bit more. And you might notice, if you're like me, I need to have my focus on something so that's going to help me with my balance so I can try to keep my tree pose here. Now my hands could be down. My hands could be in prayer. Or my arms could reach up and pretend they are tree branches. But if that's too much for your balance, and you notice that you fall, take the arms away and continue working on the leg part. I'm going to take 2 more breaths here, and I'm wobbling, so I'm recalibrating the balance. Take the left knee back forward, and then step back into your mountain pose. Oh, feel the difference from left side to right side. There should be a little bit of a difference there. Take an inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a standing position with or without arms. Come to mountain pose. And give yourself a moment or two to prep for the other side. I'm going to turn again so that you can see a little bit. So from your mountain pose, sturdy up the left foot. Shift the weight slightly and start off with lifting the right heel. This might be where you stay. But let's see, I think we can handle. Open up that right knee and get the right heel to connect to, it's kind of the ankle, maybe just above the ankle. Watch what's happening with those hips. Make sure that you're not just sinking into one hip, aka the left hip. See if you can zip that up. Find your balance. And then notice if that right toe that you are now using as a little bit of a kickstand, can you simply float it up? You might try to float it up and notice that, oh, no, I can't. Well, then that's where you're going to stop. If you notice that you can easily lift that right toe, then start making your way into your entire foot flat against the left inside shin. And again, you might notice, ooh, this side is a little bit more challenging. Maybe I've got to go back down because my hips are too tired. You decide, what are you going to be able to hold? What arm position are you going to able to maintain? Is your breathing still smooth? Even though your body is making those slight shifts and calibrating where your balance is, are you still breathing? Have you lost your balance? I almost fell. And then if I do fall, that's okay. I'm going to come back to my feet. I'm going to try again. And I'm going to take 3 more breaths, either attempting again or still holding. Draw the knee back towards the front and then bring yourself to mountain pose. Now, as you come to your mountain pose, notice what you notice. Has the sides evened out? Is your left hip feeling more closer to the right hip? Do you feel totally different from side to side? One more breath here in mountain pose. And then we are going to make our way back to down dog. So you have an option here. If you've got a little bit more left, we can sneak in one more vinyasa. Either way, all of us, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands to the floor. You can stay in down dog. Or if you got one last little bit of energy, one last vinyasa, I'm coming forward to my plank in inhale. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to back bend. Exhale, down dog. And then all come to the knees. We're coming into a child's pose, and I do invite you to go with a wider knee so that you can sway side to side into those hip creases. And with your wider knee, you do have an opportunity for your chest and belly to fall kind of between your knees, and it gives you a little bit of space to get that movement. So you just want to make sure that those hips are getting a little bit of a release. So that little movement side to side before you settle into a child's pose. Now, once you settle into your child's pose, see if you can find the stillness so that your body can release. Wherever it picked up a little bit of tension in our flow, wherever it picked up tension in our attempt to do a tree pose, or anywhere else along the way, we want to release that tension here. So we did quite a bit in the hips, so make sure that you're breathing a little bit of love into those hips right now. We'll take 2 more breaths in your version of child's pose.
And then inhale to lift the torso, bring the knees back towards each other. And I do want to give you another option. At the beginning of the practice, we got into the figure 4 where we were on our backs. Now, if you were totally digging that, by all means, get to your back and get into that figure 4 shape. If you didn't dig that 100%, there is the other option of our 90-90. So what I'll do is go into this option to show you that you can have in your toolbox. We've addressed this before, but I'll show it to you again. So I'm coming down onto one hip. I'm going to go to the left first so that I can bring my left shin at a 90-ish degree to my left thigh. Yes? I'm not going to measure, but I want to get roughly that. And I want to do the same with this back foot. Now, you may not be able to see it, but the thigh is parallel with the top edge of my mat, and then my shin is 90 to that. So here, I'll show you here. So here's my 90-ish, and then here's my 90-ish. Hence the name 90-90. Yes? So once you find that, I like to take my torso and aim it towards my shin. That one is going to give me the best sensation in my hip and glute. So in my 90-90, I take my inhale to lengthen my spine, and then use your exhale to kind of fold yourself forward. Now, if you find a lot of sensation in this front knee, just flex that front foot slightly, and that might keep those ligaments a little bit taut so that your knee doesn't have any issues. So I am going to come forward to what's comfortable for me. So the main place that you should feel this is in the front leg, which for me right now is the left leg, in that hip glute area. And that's the same idea that you should be getting when you are on your back on the figure 4. So whichever knee is kind of lifted and off to the side, that's the glute that you should be feeling the sensation in. So we're going to take about 5 breaths on the one side, either here in your 90-90 or in your figure 4 on your back. So find what's comfortable, how deep of a fold is comfortable for you. If you're in your figure 4, how tight is the knee coming up into your chest? Where can you still breathe? Slowly make your way out of the one side. If you're on your back and you're doing your figure 4, you're just going to unhook the foot and change sides. If you're sitting, all I'm going to do is kind of bring that left shin in, shift my weight kind of to the other side as gracefully as you can, and I'm going to get into that 90-90 on this side. So once again,
I'm not going to measure this shin and thigh bone to make sure it's 100% 90 degrees. 100% 90 degrees, oh boy. You know what I mean. And this back leg, I might notice that maybe a little bit more open is comfortable for me. It really depends on your hips at this point. Eventually one day, this leg is going to be straight back behind me, and I'm going to get into more of a pigeon pose. But for now, this one suits me just fine. So again, I could have my torso straight, kind of in line with this thigh. But I noticed for me to get a better sensation in my right glute there, that if I turn my torso towards my shin and then start to fold, I get a much better, more effective stretch in that right glute. So again, you have to play around a little bit with your own body, find how deep you can go, notice what you have to do with your foot. You might notice that you come down to a very awkward spot and maybe you want a little bit of support. You can rest your head here on a block. Maybe a bolster, maybe a pillow. Or you can simply prop yourself up onto your kind of elbow forearms. There's a little bit of shoulder work there just to support yourself, but is that the perfect depth for you? So again, I'm working on right now the right glute. My right leg is forward near the front of my mat, and that glute is what I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to get that hip to kind of ease up, open up, however way you want to look at it. So the sensation really should not be in your knee. It should be more in your hip, in your glute area. So again, find what works best for you. You might need to use your fists to prop you up. What's going to make you the most comfortable in, for some, a slightly uncomfortable shape? But if you're like me, my hips are tight. So when I try to get them into a different shape, to try to open them up, they're going to be the first ones to complain. So as I'm working to open them up, I have to find that spot that's slightly uncomfortable because I'm working to open up because they're super tight, but I'm not going into it so far that I'm in pain, because that's not going to work. If you're forcing it that much, not only is it not going to open up, but it's going to fight you even more. So what happens, it kind of retracts and kind of like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then it's even harder. So you want you want your body to be as relaxed as you possibly can so that you can ease into these shapes. So a few more breaths here. And then you're slowly going to make your way out. And again, take your time coming out because it might be a little awkward. So come to your sit position with the legs extended out in front of you. And at this point, you can be a little lazy.
I'm going to be a little lazy in my shoulders as I give my legs a little wiggle jiggle. So I'm allowing my spine to be a little curved and lazy here because my hips need just that extra second to catch their breath. And then I'm slowly going to either make my way to the back, if that's going to be my final space, my final shape, going into a traditional Shavasana. Maybe you'd like to find a sit position. You decide how you want to finish your practice. Again, you want to find somewhere that you can be comfortable enough that you can rest and let go. And you always, always want to take a little time at the end of your practice, no matter how long your practice is. Even if you've decided to do only 5 minutes of work, you still want to give a little bit of time at the end of your practice to allow your body to kind of let go. Give it a few moments to absorb your effort, to absorb the shapes that you went through in your flow. And you want any tension that you built up through your flow to kind of release here. Now, when I say kind of, you may not be able to release all of the tension that you built up in 1 or 2 breaths. You might need a little bit more. So again, if you are in traditional Shavasana, make sure that the legs and arms are comfortable. Make sure that the low back is comfortable. The spine is as neutral as you can possibly manage at this moment. Make sure that the neck is neutral and that the face is soft. In whatever shape you have chosen, see if you can tune into the breath and follow that flow of the rise in the inhale and the fall in your exhale. Like a little bit of a wave, a lift and a drop. An inhale and an exhale. Enjoy your work effort prize of resting here in comfort and ease. And I'll shortly guide you back to the space.
moving just yet. Bring your awareness back to the space. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Find that wave once again, that rise in the inhale, the fall in the exhale. And then slowly start to wake up the body with your gentle moves. Where do you need the movement? What little shifts do you need to take? And then over the next 3 or 4 breaths, gently and slowly, come up to a sit position, whichever shape is most comfortable for you. And then once you have found your sit position, find your comfortable hand position. We'll take one more cleansing breath, a nice big inhale. Let it go in your exhale. We'll finish our practice here, honoring the light within. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining me once again. So I hope that your hips feel nice, and I hope that you challenged your balance a little bit and maybe notice where you were better, where you need work, and hopefully that little attempt at tree pose was a little bit of fun. Don't worry if you fell or if you weren't able to hold it. We will try to do it again in a future flow, so you'll have an opportunity to do it again. So don't worry. So we will see you soon. Bye for now. Please consider subscribing to the channel. It's easy and free for you to do, and it helps me to build up this community. If you think that anyone that you know might benefit from these videos, please feel free to share the link.